Hello, it's Grandma again. Are you ready for Grandma's story time? I've got my story bag here. It's my bag with purple circles and golden elephants, and blue circles with golden elephants, and red circles. And it's my story time story bag with my book and with Peter. Come out, Peter. Hello, how are you? Oh, you want to find out what happens? Shall we find out? Do you remember what's happened already? We're reading The Wishing Chair again. What chapter are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We're up to 22. Oh, we're a long way into the book, aren't we? Up to number 22. I wonder what's going to happen. Peter better go back in the bag. I better put on your glasses, Grandma. And let's begin. Chapter 22. Winks and Chinky are silly. I wonder what they do that's silly. Let's find out. The wishing chair seemed tired of all its adventures. It stood in its place for 10 days and didn't grow any wings. We've only got a week and 2 days left before we go back to school, and then we won't see you, Chinky, said Molly, who was a bit worried. I do hope we have another adventure before we have to say goodbye to you. Where's Winks?
I don't know,
said Chinky.
He was here last night looking very mysterious. You know, the way he looks when he's up to mischief. I just hope he won't get into trouble.
You know he lost my doll's gloves on the last adventure. He says he dropped them into the sea, said Molly. Now his hands show up again, and they're all blue.
I know.
The things he loses,
said Chinky. He came in without his shoes the other day and said he'd lost them. I said, well, where did you take them off? And he said, I don't know, I didn't take them off. How could anyone do that?
Shh. Here he is, said Molly. Oh, Winks, your hands aren't blue anymore. They're the right colour. How did you manage that?
Ha ha,
said Winks.
I've got a secret. What is it?
Said Chinky at once.
Well, it won't be a secret if I tell you,
said Winks, very annoyed.
Have you been to see Mr. Spurls?
Asked Molly.
No, I went to see Witch Wendle,
said Winks.
I borrowed her wand. It's got very good magic in it. Do you mean to tell me that Witch Wanda gave you her wand?
Said Chinky, disbelievingly.
Why, it was only last week that you told me you put her chimney pot upside down so all the smoke went into her kitchen. I don't believe you. All right then, here's the wand. See?
Said Winks. And he suddenly produced the wand from under his coat. It was a small, neat wand, not long and slender like Chinky's. He waved it about. Molly and Peter stared in surprise. And Chinky jumped up in alarm.
Winks! You took it without asking. I know you did. Witch Wendle would never lend her wand to you. Why, look, it's absolutely full of magic.
So it was. All wands glitter and shine and gleam and shimmer when they are full of magic, and this one was quite dazzling.
I just borrowed it for a little while,
said Winks.
The witch has gone to call on her sister, so she won't miss it. I'll take it back soon. I wished my hands the right colour again. Wasn't I pleased when they came all right? You're a very bad, naughty brownie,
said Chinky.
You ought to go back to Mr. Grimm's school. I've a good mind to take you back. Don't you talk to me like that or I'll lose my temper,
said Winks crossly, and he poked his wand at Chinky.
Stop it,
said Chinky.
You should never poke people with wands. Surely you know that. And let me tell you this. I shall talk to you anyhow I want. You take that wand back to Witch Wendle at once. I don't like you, Chinky,
said Winks, looking suddenly cross.
I shall wish for a Maggle-mig to chase you.
And he waved the wand in the air, and goodness gracious, whatever was this extraordinary creature that was running in at the door? It was rather like a small giraffe, but it had feathers, and it wore shoes on its 4 feet. It galloped around the room after Chinky. The children fled to a cupboard. If this was a Maggle-mig, they didn't like it. Winks sat down on the sofa and roared with laughter. Chinky was furious. He rushed to the toy cupboard and felt about for his wand. He waved it in the air.
Maggle-mig, change to a snickeroo and chase Winks,
he cried. And at once the little giraffe-like creature changed to a thing like a small crocodile with horns, and it ran at Winks, and he leapt off the sofa in a hurry. Winks waved his wand at the snickeroo, and it ran into the fireplace and completely vanished. Winks pointed the wand at Chinky.
Horrid Chinky, grow a long nose.
And poor Chinky did. It was so long that he nearly fell over it. Winks took hold of it and pulled it. Chinky hit out at Winks with his own wand.
Grow a tail,
he yelled. And hey presto, Winks grew a tail. One like a cow's, with a tuft at the end. It swung to and fro, and Winks looked down at it in alarm. He tried to run away from the swinging tail, but you can't leave a tail that's joined onto you, of course, and the tail followed him, swinging to and fro.
Ha ha,
said Chinky, a brownie with a tail. Winks was crying now. He picked up his wand, which he had dropped, and he and Chinky both hit out at each other at the same moment.
I'll change you into a puff of smoke,
said Winks.
I'll change you into a horrid smell,
said Chinky. And then they both disappeared. Peter and Molly stared with utmost dismay. A little puff of green smoke blew across the room and disappeared out the door. And a horrid smell drifted about the room for a few minutes, and then that went too. Molly burst into tears. "Now look what's happened," she sobbed. "We've lost both Chinky and Winks." Peter saw that the 2 wands were on the floor. He picked up Chinky's and put it in the toy cupboard. Then he picked up the one that Winks had taken from Witch Wendle's and looked at it. Molly gave a cry. "Oh, don't meddle with it, Peter, don't." "I'm not going to," said Peter. "I'm just wondering what to do about all this. It's very serious. I think we should take this wand back to Witch Wendle's." "Oh, let's take it back quickly then," said Molly. "And perhaps if we do, she'll tell us what to do about Chinky and Winks. How will we find the way?" "We might ask Mr. Spells," said Peter. and then he suddenly stopped in delight. He pointed behind Molly. She turned and saw that the wishing chair was growing its wings again. The buds on its 4 legs burst, and soon the big green and yellow wings were waving gently in the air. "Oh, what a bit of luck," said Molly. "Now we can get in the wishing chair and just tell it to go to Witch Wendle's." Peter sat in the chair and pulled Molly in beside him. He had the witch's wand in his hand. "Wishing chair, we want to go to Witch Wendle's," he said. "Go at once." The chair rose up into the air and made for the door. Out it went and up into the cloudy sky. It made for an opening up in the clouds and shot through it. Now the children were in the warm sunshine above. They flew for a long way, and then Molly shouted in surprise and pointed. "Look, what's that? A castle in the clouds?" Both the children stared. It was a very surprising sight indeed. A big purple cloud loomed overhead, thick and gloomy. Set in its depths was what looked exactly like a castle, with towers and turrets. The chair flew straight at the cloud and stopped. It hovered just above the cloud, and the children couldn't get down. "Go lower, chair," called Peter, but the chair didn't. A head popped out of the window of the castle.
"Wait, I'll get you cloud shoes. If you walk without them, you'll fall."
The head disappeared. Then out of the castle came Wendle Witch, a bright star glinting on the top of her pointed hat. She carried what looked like snowshoes, big flat things, to fasten to their feet.
"Here you are,"
she said.
"Put these on and you'll be able to walk easily on the clouds. That's why your wishing chair wouldn't land. It knew it would be too dangerous for you without them."
"Oh, thank you," said Molly. She liked Witch Wendle very much because her face smiled and her eyes twinkled. The children put on their cloud shoes and then stepped down onto the cloud. They could get along quite well now. It felt rather like they were on very soft snow. "What a strange home you have, set high in the clouds," said Peter.
"Oh, people often build these,"
said the witch.
"Haven't you ever heard of people building castles in the air? Well, this is one of them. They don't last very long, but they're very comfortable. I've had this one about 2 months now."
She led the way to her curious castle. "We've come to bring you your wand," said Peter. "I must tell you all that's happened." And so he did, and the witch listened in silence.
"That tiresome Winks,"
she said.
"He never should have left Mr. Grimm's school."
"What can we do about Chinky and Winks?" said Molly. "Now that they're a puff of smoke and a horrid smell? Where have they gone?"
"To the land of spells,"
said the witch.
"We'll have to get your wishing chair to go there. Come along."
And that's the end of chapter 22. Fancy Chinky and Winks fighting with magic. Now they've both disappeared. Just as well the wishing chair grew its wings again, because now they can go and find them, and Witch Wendle will help them. That's all for today. Come back tomorrow. We need to find out. Bye-bye.